Hey everyone, I'm Ed, the lead for the Rank team. Recently, I had the amazing opportunity of being interviewed by a talented duo of Chinese content creators. I hope you'll enjoy this interview, and I actually also hope you'll send your thoughts, questions, and comments my way. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll see you on the Rift.
The biggest problem that we saw when we looked at ranked was if a player is a mid-main and they end up having to get autofilled to support in a game, they may feel like, oh, this game is pretty much just lost, I don't have a chance of winning, I might as well just kind of write it off and go to the next game. We really want to fix that. And when we looked at what was actually going on there, we realized that, let's say you're a gold mid player, what's happening is when you play support, you're actually just much worse. Like your win rate is lower. That means your MMR should be lower when you play that position. If we actually upgrade our matchmaking to do matchmaking by position, then we can actually put you in a much more fair game when you do get autofilled, when you do play your secondary position, or when you just want to learn something new. And so really the impetus was about fairness. It was about making matchmaking a higher quality so that people are in more fair games more of the time. In terms of how the system works, the basic idea is you'll have up to 5 ranks, depending on how many positions you play. And I think just for some additional context there, we see right now that most players play maybe 1, maybe 2 positions on average. They'll have a rank that they can actually see and feel as it's getting better. So if I go and I play jungle and I'm getting better at jungle and I see my jungle rank going up, that's awesome. And if I now go back to mid lane and I see my mid lane rank going up, that feels really good too. Like why would if I'm a mid player and I'm in gold, why would I go play top lane if I know I'm gonna lose more games, right? And so I think position ranks is kind of about opening that up, opening up those goal sets a little bit so that players can choose what they want to pursue and get recognition for it. The first one was, if I am a player in position ranks and I main mid and I get autofilled to support, that game might be fair, but what incentive do I have to take that game seriously, right? Like it's my support rank, maybe I don't really care about that rank that much, and so I kind of throw that game or I feed or whatever, because the next game I'll hopefully play mid, and that's the position I actually care about. And the way those work essentially is when you win or lose a game in any position, you'll splash some of that LP to all of your other positions. So in the example I just described to you, where I get autofilled to support and I lose that game, so maybe I got minus 15 in support, maybe I'll get minus 3 or minus 4 in my mid position, which is probably enough to make me take that game seriously, but still doesn't hurt my mid rank too much. So what about when we think about players who are intentionally abusing the system and losing every game that they get in an off position, every game they get autofilled? For those players, we can actually just ramp up the splashing. So what we do is we look at the past so many games that you play in off positions, and we say, well, if you lost many of them or all of them, then we can make the splashing larger. So where the splashing might normally be minus 3 to your main position, it can get up as large as minus 15, minus 20. So that's kind of how we solve the I don't care about my off positions problem. Basically, like, I queue up as a position I'm really bad at so that the matchmaker puts me in an easier game. Then I trade with someone in champion select and say, oh, I'll carry you, just give me my main position. But that's okay. Like, the players swap today to get optimal games, and that works out for them fine. We're okay with that because really your rank calibrates over many games. If we see that players are starting to swap in a pattern, so let's say you swap maybe 2, 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row, what we'll actually do is we'll take all of your MMRs for your different positions and we'll just pull them all together. And that basically prevents people from taking advantage of the benefits of positional matchmaking, but also doesn't allow them to abuse positional matchmaking to gain an unfair advantage. You're not going to have the advantage of positional matchmaking to make that game more fair. And so it's going to feel harder to you, which, probably don't want. Yeah, we don't have any immediate plans to kind of do anything about that. I think looking at Overwatch, they've actually done some pretty interesting kind of tests of having a specific person that you maybe don't want to see in your games or things like that. I think the thing that we have to be really careful about is giving players an opportunity to essentially choose a list of people that they just don't want to be in games with, because high level players could actually abuse that for matchmaking advantages. So I could say like, hey, there's this really good player and I see them fairly frequently, so I'm going to add them to my block list or my ban list or whatever, so that I just never have to play against them, which could kind of compromise the integrity of the ladder. But like, I think it would be really interesting to do something along those lines, because sometimes you just have a really bad game and there's someone in that game that you really don't want to see again. So I think giving